Remedial teaching. One or two questions are regularly asked from this chapter in seated. Candidates are suggested to go through the chapter completely. Remedial teaching is the teaching or instructional work carried out to provide remedial measures that helps pupils get rid of their common or specific weakness. In other words, it is a process of providing instructional correctives or removing learning distortions or subject matter difficulties that a pupil may face in understanding the concept or use of a subject. Pupils usually may have one or more than one of the following learning difficulties: poor memory, short attention span, and are easily distracted by other things, relatively poor comprehensive power, lack of learning motivations, lack of self confidence, and relatively low self expectations, weak in problem solving skill, fail to grasp information effectively and mix things up easily, have difficulty in understanding new or abstract concepts, need more time to complete assignments or tasks. Apart from various learning difficulties, pupils may have different abilities and styles of learning. Some are better in visual learning while others are more competent in audio learning. Certain pupils have to learn through sense of touch or practical experience. The presence of any difficulty in learning doesn't mean that some students are stupid. It just means that they are facing problems in reading a concept. In this sense, remedial teaching ensures efficiency in learning and further helps students analyze their maximum potential and capacity. Remedial teachers, therefore, should design diversified teaching activities and adopt various teaching methods to help pupils develop their potential and remove the obstacles in learning. Objectives of remedial teaching. Each pupil is different in terms of academic standards, classroom learning, learning ability, and academic performance. Each pupil is different in terms of academic standards, classroom learning, learning ability, academic performance. In such situations, remedial teaching comes as a process that makes sure that all students are at a level relevant to their age and class. Thus, the main objective of remedial teaching program is to provide learning support to pupils who are not as good as their peers in performance. However, apart from this, remedial teaching has some other aims or objectives to fulfill as well. They are: with the help of school curriculum and teaching strategies, a teacher provides learning activities and practical experience to pupils according to their abilities and requirements. Teachers also design individualized educational programs with intensive remedial support to help pupils consolidate their basic knowledge in different subjects matter, master the learning methods, strengthen their confidence, and enhance the effectiveness of learning. Teachers should provide systematic training to develop pupils' generic skill, including interpersonal relationship, communications, problem solving, self-management, self-learning, independent thinking, creativity, and the use of information technology. Remedial teaching lays the foundation for pupils' lifelong learning, helps them develop positive attitudes and values, as well as prepare them for future studies and career. Importance of remedial teaching. Remedial teaching is central to the teaching learning process. It provides a reinforcement of learnings, especially for those areas which are used little or which are forgotten by students or which were learned in a faulty manner earlier, to provide necessary and correct foundation to rectify past mistakes and improve future learning, to rectify concepts that have been confused or misunderstood, to fill in the gaps that have crept into the student's learning, to hasten the process of learning the subject, to help underachievers in updating their learning and help gifted students in expanding their learning. To create build confidence to create or build confidence in students, to inculcate regular and better study habits, to help students in realizing their full potential. Principles of helping pupils with learning difficulties. 1. Teaching preparations. Before preparing their lessons, teachers should identify pupils' diverse learning needs as soon as possible so that they may design appropriate teaching plan to facilitate pupils' effective learning. Devise various learning activities. Teachers must devise different learning activities with the same teaching objectives to develop pupils' varied abilities and skill in problem solving. It is more effective for teachers to adopt a series of relevant and simple teaching activities than assigning one long teaching activity. Designing meaningful learning situations. Teachers should specifically design meaningful learning situations, language environment, especially for English, games or activities, so as to provide personal learning experience for pupil and stimulate their interest and initiative in learning. Teaching approach. Teachers should give concrete and valuable example before proceeding to abstract concept by way of simple and easy steps at a pace in line with the learning abilities of pupil. Teachers may teach new concept from different perspective by various approach so that pupil can grasp the idea through meaningful and repeated illustrations. Teachers should encourage pupils' active participation by more frequent use of teaching aids, games, and activities. They can also make use of information technology and all the teaching resources available to help pupils understand the main points. Provide clear instruction. Pupils with learning difficulties are less competent in understanding writing language. Therefore, teachers should give pupils short and clear instruction to avoid confusion. They must explain clearly the arrangement of each learning activity. Summarize the main points. During the course of teaching, teachers should always sum up the main points in teaching and write the key phrase on the board to enhance pupils' audio and visual memories. Teachers can guide their pupils to line up the knowledge by learn from class with their life experience so as to enhance the effectiveness of learning. Besides, guiding people to repeat the main points in verbal or written form is also a different way of learning. Enhance learning interest and motivations. Pupils with learning difficulties may lose their interest in learning. Therefore, teachers should adapt the curriculum to meet the needs of people. With fewer people in the remedial teaching program, teachers can design interesting activities coupled with a reward scheme to stimulate people's interest. Encourage people's active participation in class activities. Peoples with learning difficulty usually lack self-confidence and are more passive in class. They seldom ask questions to express their views. Remedial teachers should patiently encourage active participation in class. A pleasurable learning experience may help enhance pupils' interest in learning. Focus on the learning process. Teaching should not only focus on the transmission of knowledge, it is also important to see that pupils are benefited from the entire learning process. Teachers should provide ample opportunities in class for pupils to practice and think about what they are learned and allow them to solve problems by different means. Teachers should also carefully observe the performance of pupils. Slow concern or for the performance of individual pupils. Teachers should carefully observe the learning process of individual pupils in class. Whenever necessary, they should provide individuals remedial teaching before and after class so that they can remove their learning obstacles as soon as possible. When marking assignments, teachers should take note of the common error of people and deliver the correct concepts and knowledge to them promptly. Curriculum adaptation. The following steps and strategies can be used by the teacher to adapt the curriculum to his or her class. Teaching should adapt the curriculum to accommodate the learning characteristics and abilities of pupils. Teachers should set some easy teaching objectives to impart knowledge. Teaching should not be directed by textbook, which should not be taken as the school curriculum. Schools should classify the teaching content into core and non-core learning aspects according to the teaching objective and pupils' abilities. Core learning aspects require in-depth studies and applications, whereas material in the non-core or advanced learning aspects may be streamlined or appropriately selected for teaching. Teachers should not encourage to adapt recommendations or cross-curriculum teaching by linking up related teaching areas flexibly so that more time can be spared for effective activities and learning. Teachers should be capable of designing materials for different standards which could be taken from the internet, newspaper, magazine, and reference provided by the education department. Designing conducive learning environment. Teachers should prepare a rich, pleasant, and comfortable learning environment for people. A well-designed learning environment helps to maintain pupils' attention and interest in learning and facilitates the achievement of teaching aim. That is, they may set up a self-learning corner, book corner, toy corner, science corner, prize corner, or stationery or learning resources corner, etc. to inspire people interest in learning. Teachers may display the teaching materials of the week or the learning outcomes of procedures of pupils at prominent place to stimulate their motivation in learning. Strategies for remedial teaching. Individualized educational program IEP to fulfill the learning needs of individual pupils. The individualized educational programs aims to reinforce the foundation of learning, help pupils overcome their learning difficulties and develop their potentials. Individualized educational programs should include short-term and long-term teaching objectives, learning steps, activities, and review to ensure that the program is implemented effectively. Teachers must evaluate the effectiveness of the work and try to gather opinions of pupils for improvisation and betterment. Peer support program. Teachers may train up pupils who perform better in a certain subject to become little teachers and who will be responsible for helping schoolmates with learning difficulties in group teaching and self-study sessions as well as outside class. Peer support program help pupils reinforce their knowledge and develop their communication and cooperation skills as well as good interpersonal relationship. Reward scheme. To motivate pupils, teachers must implement reward scheme which focuses on guiding pupils to set their own objectives and plans and positively reinforcing their good performance. To design the rewards, teachers must take note of the following: set clear and specific targets, set achievable objectives, give diversified rewards to accommodate pupils' interest, give rewards instantly, review and revise the reward scheme regularly, invite parents or guardians to help children improve their work. Handling pupils' behavioral problems. Teachers should observe the following when dealing with the behavioral problems of people. Always observe the performance of people in class and their behavior in groups. Establish a close relationship with people. Develop mutual trust and listen carefully to what they say. Help pupils understand the effect of their behavior on others as well as their own lives. Keep in close contact with parents to find out the causes of pupils' behavioral problem. Help pupils build up self-confidence and a healthy self-image. Give positive reinforcement to pupils' good behavior and do not pay undue attention to their misbehavior. Do not try to change all the deviant behavior of pupils at once. Refer the cases to consoles counselors or teachers for follow-up action if the behavioral problems of pupils continue or become serious. Development of generic skills. Teachers should help pupils to develop good learning habits and attitudes, completing completing the assignments steadily, keeping their promises, and becoming responsible and disciplined. A constructive attitude is the foundation for lifelong self-learning, and it helps enhance pupils' learning effectiveness. Teacher can also make use of information technology to motivate and teach pupils to learn according to their own pace, help them cultivate the habit of self-learning so that they will benefit from such training for their whole life. Teachers should train pupils to establish good interpersonal relationship so as to facilitate effective communications and collaborations, as well as to enhance the team spirit of pupils. Pupils can be taught to solve problems by different methods and tools, or by drawing insight from their past experience to develop pupils' flexibility, creativity, and independent thinking.